Here we're told that in this figure, point O is the center, okay, center of the circle. Line LM and MN are tangent to the circle at these points, okay, that's very important. And the segments intersect at point M, okay, so if the circumference, okay, if the total C is equal to 96, what is the length of minor arc LN? So basically, if the total circumference is 96, what is the length of just this segment right here, this arc? So the critical detail to realize here is that, so these are radii, right? These are two radius, pieces. The critical thing here is that we know that if this is tangent, this is running tangent, these two things have to be perpendicular. So since it's going from O to N, and this is tangent, this has to be perpendicular, which means this is a 90-degree angle. And the same is right over here. And I think once you make this realization, it's much easier to go through the problem. Simply because, in fact, I mean, if you didn't realize this, but now do, you can even pause the video and just try to do it all the way through yourself. But basically, why is this critical? Well, because now we actually have 3 out of 4 angles, and we can solve for this angle. Because this is now a quadrilateral, we know that quadrilaterals have a total of 360 degrees of internal angles. So that means that equals 60 plus 90, right, plus another 90, and then plus some x. We'll just call this angle x. This is x. How do we solve for 360? Well, we just add these all together. So this is 360 equals, I think that's 240. 90 plus 60, yep, 240 plus x. Okay, now we subtract 240 on both sides here to solve for x, and we get that x is equal to 120 degrees. So what does that tell us? If this is 120 degrees, how can we actually figure out the length of the arc? So from here, you just set up a proportion. Think about it this way. If the angle was like 360 degrees, it covered the entire circle, then it would be equal to the entire circumference. This, arc would be the entire circumference. The number of degrees that you cover is proportional with the length of the arc to the circumference. Again, another way to think about it is if this was 180 degrees, it went all the way from here to here, the arc would be exactly half of the circle, half of the circumference, just like 180 is half of 360. So how you set this up is it's 120 over 360, so your angle over your total is equal to x, the length of the minor arc, over the total, so over 96. And here you can solve it however you want. I personally like to just simplify this first, so I know that this is 1/3 is equal to x over 96, and then to solve for x, you just multiply by 96 on both sides here. So it cancels out, and 96 times 1/3 is equal to 32. So x is equal to 32, and that's going to be your answer. That's the length of this, of this minor arc.